Remember, a buffer solution needs to have a weak acid with its conjugate base, or a weak base with its conjugate acid. So this one right here contains a strong base and a strong acid. It is not a buffer solution. This one contains a strong base with sodium ion we could think of as being the conjugate acid to sodium hydroxide, but the fact that we have a strong base would suggest that this is not a buffer solution either. Now we have a strong acid with its conjugate base. A buffer solution cannot be formed with a strong acid and its conjugate base. We need a weak acid and its conjugate base. So this is not a buffer solution either. Here we have a weak acid with sodium fluoride, and the fluoride is the weak conjugate base to this weak acid. So this is a buffer solution. Here we have a weak acid. It's not one of our strong acids. It's an acid because it has a hydrogen here. If you're uncertain if what you're looking at is a weak acid, go to a table of Ka values and see if it has a Ka value. If so, then it's a weak acid. And cyanide is the conjugate base to that, so this is also a buffer solution. Down here we have HCl, which is a strong acid, and we have HF, which is a weak acid, so this is not a buffer solution. Now, not to confuse you, but this will help set you up for future discussions. Would this be a buffer solution? We have a weak acid and we have a strong base. So at initial glance, it looks like that it would not be a buffer solution. However, if HF and sodium hydroxide are added together, then we get a reaction that occurs where the sodium hydroxide, because it is a strong base, will react with HF because it's an acid, a weak acid, and make fluoride and water. So this actually creates the conjugate base to HF. So if we don't add too much of NaOH, maybe just enough to neutralize half of the HF, then when we're all done, this is the limiting reactant. So when we're all done, we still have some of this and we've created some of this. So the final product is a solution of HF and F-. So there will be buffers that can be created by mixing chemicals such as these shown here. So be aware of that, and we will again discuss that further in a future lecture.